guys, welcome back to another episode of Dimitra's Dishes. Today I'm going to teach you how to make black-eyed peas with spinach and fennel stew. This recipe comes from my island of Crete. It's flavorful, hearty, so inexpensive to make. It is also vegan and it is super delicious. Let's go over the ingredients so we can get started. We're going to need some olive oil, a small onion, some salt, crushed red pepper flakes, which are optional, black pepper. These are some black-eyed peas that are dried and uncooked that I've soaked in water overnight. Fresh spinach that's been chopped up, roughly chopped. A fennel bulb, we're going to use the fronds and the bulb, but we will get into that later. And some canned diced tomatoes. So now you just want to make sure that you drain the water that the beans were sitting in overnight. Discard that water, rinse the beans a few times until the water runs clear, until all that froth disappears. Transfer the beans into a pot and cover them with cold water. Boil them for 25 to 30 minutes and go ahead and drain them. Once that's done, we're going to move on to the next step. Go ahead and finely chop an onion and then add it to the pot with about a quarter cup of olive oil. Cook it over medium heat for about 8 to 10 minutes or until it's soft and golden. In that time, we're going to work on the fennel. So fennel in its raw state is great in salads because it adds a really fresh licorice type flavor. But once you cook it, like we're going to cook it today, it just adds a really nice springtime type bright flavor. And it's really nice in stews like this. You could use the fronds and the bulb. The bulb resembles, it's like in between a celery and an onion if you take a look at it. So there's a lot of dirt trapped in between the leaves. So you want to make sure once you chop up the fennel, then go ahead and rinse it really well under cold water. So I'm going to go ahead and wash this really well until all of the dirt is gone. Then once the onions are nice and soft and golden, I'm going to go ahead and add the fennel along with the spinach. So once the spinach wilts down, and it does happen really quick, you're doing this all on a high heat. The fennel is still going to have a little bit of a bite to it, but don't worry, it's going to continue to cook now that we're going to add the remaining ingredients. So now I'm going to add the beans. I'm going to add some salt. We'll start with a teaspoon and then we're going to taste as we go. I like heat, so I'm going to add a little pinch of crushed red pepper flakes. It's definitely not traditional. Some black pepper. I pureed the can of diced tomatoes because I like the sauce to be nice and smooth. If you like chunks of tomatoes in your stew, then go ahead and leave them whole. I'm also going to add a little pinch of sugar because tomatoes tend to be acidic. So just about a quarter teaspoon should do. And then again, we taste as we go. So after it cooks for a little bit, if it needs a little more, we'll add a little more, but it usually doesn't. Then I don't like to waste anything, so I'm going to rinse the blender out with the water that this needs to cook in. This is 2 cups of water. You can use vegetable broth, but I don't because I really like the flavors, the very simple flavors of the fennel and the spinach and the onion and the tomatoes to all come together and create a delicious broth, and it is already so flavorful, so I just go with water. So now we're going to bring this to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, I'm going to reduce the heat to a medium-low. I'm going to cover the pot and I'm going to let this simmer for about 25 minutes. Then I'm going to go ahead and taste it and adjust the seasoning if it's needed. Add a little bit more salt, pepper. If it's a little bit acidic, I will go ahead and add a little bit of sugar. And then if it needs a little bit more water, I will go in and add a little bit more water. But I'm going to let this cook for a little bit and I'll show you what it looks like as soon as it's done. So the black-eyed pea stew cooked for 25 minutes. Then I did go in and taste it to adjust the seasoning. And sure enough, it did need more salt. I went in and added half a teaspoon more salt, and then it was perfect. It did not need any more liquid, so we were good on the liquid. Once it's done cooking and the beans are nice and tender, turn the heat off. Finely chop the fennel fronds. You're going to need about 2 to 3 tablespoons. Sprinkle them into the stew and give everything a nice mix. And just like that, the meal is ready to be served. Everything came together in under an hour. You cannot beat that. It is time to take a bite. Amazing. So rich and hearty. The black-eyed peas are perfectly cooked. The spinach just gives it such a nice creamy element. It just melts in your mouth. Everything is so nice and light. This is a perfect meal if you want to add some more veggies into your diet, go vegan at least once a week, and just add loads and loads of nutrition. The next day, this can be turned into a delicious brunch just by adding some to a saucepan, heating it up. You can crack a few eggs in there and let them poach for 3 to 4 minutes until they're cooked, and brunch is served. You guys are going to love this. Head on over to the website, DimitrasDishes.com. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section down below. If you want to see more vegan recipes, then go ahead and click right here, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye, everyone.